Z23 says startup leadership style, authoritative, question mark. A quick context. I'm running a startup with 6 founders for almost a year. Yes, we are growing, but I have this feeling that I should not be falsely accused by people, which creates a huge conflict, or expecting people to always come and get my guidelines before they act on things like these. I'm not sure where they're going with this. Somewhere this thought is pestering me. Being a non-tech founder running this team, what am I supposed to be? So I guess they're asking is what they're asking is how do I run the company? I guess is what they're asking. Um, I I've never been a big fan of the autocrat, the authoritative. You will do this, and this is exactly how you're going to do. I've never been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of the yes, I'm the boss, as I own the company, but this is what I want to have accomplished. You do what you think is the best way to accomplish that task. And I'll tell you why I do that. If they don't do a good job, then they're not the person that I want at that position. Because eventually I will need that person to be able to do that without my input.
Yep.
And because otherwise we have the founder syndrome thing we talked about before. Otherwise, if I'm constantly on top of people, telling them day in and day out what they need to do and don't do, the business will never be able to grow beyond me. It won't. So from the get-go, I like my people to be able to do things on their own with minimal input.
Yes.
And the ones that can't, that's okay. They're just not meant to work with me.
They're meant to work under a manager.
Or they're meant to work under a manager or something like that. That's a good point too. So I've never been the whip cracker, so to speak, in my businesses.
Yeah.
Believe me, I have friends and people that own businesses that absolutely are. And you can tell that it's growing to a point where it's not going to be able to grow anymore.
Yep.
It just is, because these people cannot do a thing. They can't type anything on the keyboard without the owner looking over their shoulder, making sure they're putting in the right keys. It just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
So what are your thoughts?
So the thing that gets me to this thing is I should not be falsely accused by people. Like, what is falsely accused?
I don't know.
Right?
I have this feeling that I should not be falsely accused by people, which creates a huge conflict. I guess I guess what they're saying is, this is a pure speculation, that they're being accused of being like overbearing on their, like, to the point of where it's an unhospitable work environment.
Right. So for me,
maybe
so for me, a lot of this stuff comes back to you're either a leader or you're a manager. You can't be both.
Right.
Right. So the fact that you're saying that people are falsely accusing you of something probably doesn't mean they're falsely accusing you of something. It could mean that you don't like what they're saying and you don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
And
true.
Therefore you see it as false.
True. Victimhood. Yeah.
Correct. So whenever I hear what I call rumors, whether it's about me or about someone else, my thought is always, how did this rumor start?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what led to it? And normally it always traces back to something I did or something I said, or how I said something or how I did something and how someone else interpreted that.
Right.
So to me, this is really just a lesson in stop looking at other people and start looking at yourself. This is not a them problem. This is a me problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if they are, I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, if you speak to an audience and no one hears you, fall to your knees and apologize, for you have misspoken.
Right.
Right? So it's not about what you said. It's about what the listener heard. And I, very early on in my career, learned that when I take on a new employee, when I'm working with new people, I always make clear that what I said is what they understood.
Sure.
And I kind of feel like this is what he might be talking about, is he's saying something in a way that comes off authoritative or comes off like being a DICK, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
And that may not be his intent, and therefore he doesn't see it. right?
That's true. Yeah. I have a friend that does that. I have a friend that he's very very good,
And
very good businessman. And but sometimes with his employees, he'll explain something to them, right?
is this the guy in Texas?
Yes.
I
And
can totally see that. I've only talked to him
he'll
once.
he'll explain something to them, and then he'll say to them, "All right, repeat back what I
Hmm.
just said. To explain to me what I just told you."
Hmm.
And what he means to say is, "I want to make sure you understand." Say it back to me, but the way he says it sometimes it totally comes off like a like
I know.
obnoxious
I
prick.
know. I've only met the guy once, and I can totally
And
see
he's
it.
one of my best
But
friends.
it, but it,
I love. He's a great guy. He
but the
really
funny thing
is.
is, like that is not his intent at all.
No, it's
right?
not.
Like
No, not by any means.
it's just because he is how he is, right? Like I saw a lot of commonalities between me and him. Like
Yeah,
we're both like ADHD, store way too much information in
yeah,
our head, like blurt things out at you, and
yeah.
then we just want to make sure that you got it, right?
Right, but
Like
that's not the way it comes out.
no, it's
It
not at
comes
all.
out like you're an idiot.
It
You didn't listen to a word I said.
it
Prove me wrong.
it took me like 7 years to realize that that's how I often
Oh,
came
really?
off. Oh yeah. So now like I have to make like a real attempt at when I explain something to someone to literally go, okay, I just want to make sure you understood everything. So like if you had to train me on how to do this, how would you train me?
That's so much nicer.
Right? But it gives me an idea of, did I skip steps in the training process? Did they miss steps? Like where in the communication was there a breakdown? And if there was, how can I fix it? Right?
right.
Because I always see it as my problem.
Yeah, and it is. If you did explain it
Correct.
properly, it is your problem.
And
Exactly.
then the other thing in this situation that if you have 6 founders, you better have a really good outline of who does what
No
and who's
kidding.
responsible for what.
Yeah.
Right?
6
Like-
founders is a lot.
Yeah. A lot.
And it looks like this person's responsible for the AI team. 'Cause that's what it says down here.
Yeah.
Being a non-tech founder running this AI
But
team,
what-
what am I supposed to be?
What does responsible for the team mean?
Yeah, right.
Right? Like you can throw out all kinds of words and say, well, this is your division. Okay. All of it? Like, do I control the finances for the division or is
Right.
that the CFO?
Right.
Like, do I control hiring or is that HR?
Right.
Like, so you have to really define like what is your role, what is each founder's role, and what do they decide. And I always go back to the tech founders. I think there was 3 of them that started a business, and the business started struggling, and they had designated one as the CEO. He ended up firing 2 of the other co-founders.
Wow.
He's like, the company can't afford to
Yeah.
keep you guys
I
on.
think we talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they hadn't clearly outlined that he was a functioning CEO of that business,
Right.
he would not have been able to even bring up that conversation.
Right.
Now, from what I understand, I didn't read the rest, but from what I understand, the co-founders later came back into the business, but at the time they couldn't keep them on, right? Like,
Now, that they don't lose their ownership in the business.
Correct.
They're just not employees of the business any
Correct.
longer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And-
That's what happens, man. It
Right.
really is what happens. So, anyway, so Z23, authoritative, to each his own. You know, you have to manage however is best with your personality. You're not going to change your personality. I will say that
Well,
people don't like to be talked down to. People don't like to be talked over. People don't like to be treated like they're stupid or idiots, right?
and it's not that you have to change your personality, it's changing your communication style.
True.
Right.
That's a good point.
A lot of times it is nothing more than, and the more you learn about human behavior and how humans behave and how they hear, the better off you are going to be, because it helps you not only understand you, but also the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
Right. So, I go back to like, it's part of what's in my book when you go back to like neuro-linguistic programming, right? So you have people that are visual, auditory, and kinesthetic,
Mhm.
right? So you could be saying the same thing, like, does this look good to you? And the other person goes, I don't know. No, does it look good to you? And the person's like, I don't know. Versus if you're kinesthetic, I have to tell you, does this feel like the right solution? And you'll go, yeah. right? I'm saying the same thing, but I'm not.
Right.
It's just because they can't visualize it like you do as a visual person. So they will never know whether it looks right or not, right? They'll never know whether it sounds right or not. They'll just have a feeling that it feels right to them. So if you're an auditory or visual talking to a kinesthetic, there's going to be bumps in the road, right? Unless you adapt and you understand that you're really saying the same thing using different words. And like when I used to teach the workshops about this type of stuff, I always used real estate as an example.
Yeah.
Like I would put a picture of a house and I would tell everyone in the room, I want you to write the description of this house for the next buyer.
Yep.
And it was interesting because everybody had, like some people would have, oh, it feels cozy and warm. And like they were all feeling words, right? And then I would have someone else that would write, oh, it looks fantastic with phenomenal views.
Yeah.
And it was because they saw the world way more visually than the person that was kinesthetic.
Sure.
So they used a lot more feeling words, right? And then you could put this in front of, like you could swap them and you go, are they describing the same house?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And a lot of times they were like, yeah, but I don't see it like that. Well, the house doesn't feel like this to me. Well, guess what?
Right.
If you're a real estate agent, how you write your listings is going to determine what buyers get interested.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? If they are reading the description and you're all visual, but they're all like, oh, I want to cuddle up in front of the fireplace and feel cozy, your description may not reach those people properly unless the photos do. Right?
Yeah. And you're right. It comes down to communication. It really does. So that's a good point. To be a better manager means you need to be able to communicate better.
That's 100%. That's all. That is your entire job as a manager. Is to understand humans and be able to
and not
work
just
with them.
humans, you're humans.
Yes, you're humans.
Right? You have to understand each of your like. I'll give you an example of what I do. So all of my employees, I know their birthdays, I know their spouse's birthdays, I know their kids' birthdays if they have kids, right? And I will, hey, happy birthday. I used to send flowers to the wife on like if it was all my guys are guys right now. I no more.
Right.
Unfortunately, I have no women in my company yet. No longer, I should say. The last one quit over the summer. Still looking, but. So I used to send their wives flowers on their birthdays until one guy got a little weirded out by that. So we don't do that anymore, but we'll still say, hey, happy birthday to your wife or something like that. Maybe give them like a gift card to go to dinner. Right. Oh, yeah. But the point is get to know your people individually because they are individuals. And sometimes you'll have two different meetings with two different people and have to communicate in two different ways.
And the benefit of certain industries is that like, a lot of them are probably going to have the primary languages, primary triggers, like they're all going to be a variation of the same person, right? Like programming. I can tell you that from a marketing perspective, all of your programmers are going to fall in a similar bucket.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All of the creatives are going to fall in a similar bucket. Everybody that volunteers for a nonprofit is going to fall in a similar bucket. And they're most likely going to use very similar languages, right? Visuals, kinesthetic, auditory. Yeah. So like the only reason you have to learn all this and learn about your people is because you're going to be doing this over and over and over again, as long as you're managing a similar team.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
all right, Z23, I hope that helps. Communicate better. Be a better communicator. I think that's what it really comes down to. And it doesn't matter how long you've done it for and how good you are at it. You can always be a better communicator.
Oh yeah, you can always. I'm still learning.
Yeah, you can always learn how to communicate.
I've been studying human nature now for 20 years, and I'm still learning stuff. Yeah. If you found this clip interesting, make sure to go listen to the full podcast. There's lots more content there.